calling out as well. Like I've been booked for sessions and it's like, yep, this vocal session is happening tomorrow afternoon, and like an hour beforehand it's like, yeah, we couldn't get this part of the contract like decided, so we just separated. And you're like, okay, cool. So the session that, you never know what will happen before or after or anything, like kind of what we talked about at the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah,
you never know what's going to happen.
right. You never know. But
Yeah.
you keep doing it, and you put one foot in front of the other, and you're planting all these seeds, and at some point some of them will sprout, and like the Kesha one sprouted. So
Yeah, that was really nice to see that one come to like, full circle, especially because I got to be there when they were like writing it as well. Sometimes it's just you don't get to be there for that special bit. Like you're just there to help put all the bits that they've already decided on, like make them record the piano better or the guitar better or whatever. But they were like pen to paper kind of thing, which is cool.
Yeah, that's like a fun session to be in.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's move on to the sauce segment where we can kind of talk about some of the stuff that you actually work on and people can have a listen for themselves. So you sent me a song called, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Urania?
Yeah.
AKA Beyond the Clouds by Indira Elias. And so yeah, we'll just have a listen to that for about 90 seconds and we'll talk about what went into it. Sound cool?
Yeah.
Give me a moment to catch my thoughts. An endless summer will not keep me warm. I need the time to find voices that keep me on the path to love and keep me on the path to knowing beyond my own. I've been dreaming of a time where I can rest my mind for a minute, baby, for a moment, from all the movement, baby, just be in
Yeah, wow, it sounds so good. What a vocal. Like,
I know. She's an incredible performer.
she's got like this, Ella Fitzgerald kind of inspired thing a little bit, but also
Yeah.
something exotic also, like something more like, I don't know, maybe even Eastern or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it's a unique combination.
yeah. And it's super intimate too. Like, so Indira
Yeah.
tracked everything herself in her like apartment with all her friends and like borrowed all
No
this
way.
equipment from uni. And yeah, it's just like she did a phenomenal job in like making sure that it sounded the way that she wanted to. And then when we were like mixing, we'd pull up all these references of like tracks she really liked. So like, can we make the guitar sound more like this? And then we'd sit there for ages and like throw all the different things at it to like make it sound as her reference kind of thing. But one thing with her was she was so particular about what she wanted and had stuff to like support it. So it made my job really easier to get on the same page as her, which sometimes, you can send a link to something and it kind of doesn't come across that clear, but we could get the result way faster.
Yeah. What were some of those references, if you don't mind me asking, if you remember?
I have a playlist actually. Let me find it. I can't pronounce it. Oh, it's like Ethiopiqueues, Volume 21. It's all like piano solos. It's like Ethiopian piano solos by this one person. That was like a big inspiration for that. And there was a couple of other like French artists she'd shown me as well. So it was just, yeah, always like pulling up references. I don't remember a lot of them right now, but
Yeah, and there was this really cool like sound effect that happened like after like I don't know, maybe 40 seconds, like and it panned from like my right to the left ear. Like what was going on in there? Because that was like super vibey.
I gotta have a look.
She's in the session.
I'm in the session. There's like guitars. There's like a bunch of backing vocals in the back there. Could be some
Those
of
backing vocals
them.
are nice.
Yeah. Also, like within the song, we made like a point of like all the reverbs and delays to like keep building throughout the song too. Like I can see here, it's like some things ascending, and then I've got like her vocal like track. I've got it doubled, and then it's like sending all these like crazy effects off. I've got like a plate and a chamber and a delay, and then there's like 3 Valhallas here and
Yeah.
stuff. I can't see that.
So
like,
much reverb.
There's
Yeah.
so much reverb. But yeah, we like, I think it might even be a maybe it's just like a reverb opening up. That could be what it is. But I remember, yeah, in this song that we kind of wanted it to like all of a sudden like explode.
Blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From memory, wait,
Yeah.
maybe there is like another sound, but I can't see it. Maybe I've got something hidden somewhere in my session. The
No
things
worries.
that happens when you open something like a year after you finished it.
Right. Classic.
Yeah.
How do you remember these things? But yet I ask people for this information.
Or sometimes
together,
when
man.
the files are missing and you're like, I don't understand how like this one file is missing.
Right. How does that happen?
I don't
Totally.
know.
Yeah, and well, I just love how the vocal is. I don't even want to call it a pristine vocal. It's like it has a ambience and a vibe to it, but it works so well. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
just
because
really
she's comfortable. That's the thing. Like she tracked it at home and just took her time. And I'm not sure if this is one of the ones that she like redid a bunch even while we were mixing. But yeah, she just made sure that it was like as perfect as it could be and like really represented the song. And like one thing that we made sure that we left in on this record, which is something I take out of like most stuff, is like the stuff like
yeah,
that.
the mouth noises.
She's like, I
Yeah,
want that in there because she's singing so soft and so close to the microphone that, yeah, perfect vocal. This album is full
Yeah.
of perfect vocals.
I mean that's kind of what gives it that vintage vibe. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
back in the '60s, they weren't like being perfectionistic about like mouth noises or
Yeah.
how anything even like the tone is not the same as it is now. Like
Yeah,
but it still
everything-
has that vibe and emotion to it.
Yeah, and everything is like really delicately played too, which it just kind of it does the thing already. Then you're kind of just like, balancing the frequencies and the level of things, and there's kind of more room to play with stuff because
It's a gentle massage.
yeah. And another thing is like nothing is competing. Like the production element of it makes them you can do more stuff with the mix because I'm not having to fight to make the bass and the kick and then this low synth, all that low end stuff like, or whatever in the hi hats and synths and stuff. It's just like everything,
The masking and the compromising.
yeah, everything has its space and like nothing is competing, or if something comes in it like does its job and then it disappears. Like the simplicity of it is like it allows you to do more fun things and like move things around and make things swirl and
Yeah. You
put
can focus
100
on the
reverbs.
ambience as opposed
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
technicalities.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, it sounds beautiful and you did a great job at it. So yeah, props to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. In terms of like when you're mixing and stuff, do you have like a specific mastering engineer that you're usually working with, someone that you go to and trust, or does it depend on the label? Does it depend on
It's
like a million things?
Yeah, it's a bunch of different stuff really. Like with this record in particular, we were just like conversing about who we kind of liked or what albums she really liked, and then looking at who the people are, and then we kind of like made a list, and then we just walked out into the kitchen and one of the guys there was like, oh, what are you guys doing? And we're like, oh, we've just finished mixing. Like, we're thinking about mastering engineers. He's like, what about Brian Lucy? And we're like, oh, who's that? I looked him up and we were like, oh, whoa, like this is cool. And we emailed him and like 15 minutes later he responded and he was like, yep, here's my rates, would love to do it. And kind of like since getting the first couple of things back from him, like he is the person that I usually recommend. Like he mastered our band EP as well. It did like crazy fantastic job on that too. But yeah, he's kind of who I recommend at the moment for, I feel like my mixes and whatever he does, it's just like they, you know, they work well
peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. And so I basically like, I never really have, there's never a revision from my end. It's more like from the artist, and or if I've like noticed that there's a huge like click in the vocal
sometimes
or
you notice
something.
the issues.
Yeah, and I'm like,
when it gets louder.
Please fix this. I'm so sorry. But yeah, he's kind of like my number one at the moment. And then there's like a couple of other people who I would love to work with, but maybe sometimes it hasn't worked out because, you know, of budget or, you know, availability or, you know, there's things that happen. But sometimes I master things for people. I don't really advertise it, but, you know, because someone might be working to a really tight budget and, you know, you're like, well, I'll just see what I can do. You don't have to use it if you don't like it, but it's better than like not trying to have something mastered. Or sometimes it's like I don't know if you know of this Australian band called Total Control. They're like big punk kind of band. And Mikey Young, who's a member of that, like a lot of people in this like particular scene in Sydney send stuff to him, and we had like our first few songs mastered by him because it kind of just like came back, especially when we were doing the like Italo disco thing. It pushed it more into that genre. So when it's like scuzzy, funky, or not funky, but like fuzzy kind of stuff, I'm usually like, let's send it to Mikey because it'll come back like cool. But then it's just, yeah, it just depends on the song. It's like, oh, I think like blah blah person at this studio would be good, so let's hit them up and just see. Like, and it's also, there's, if you have the budget, like why not send it to a couple of people, like especially if you've got budget to do a 6-track EP, like let's send the single to like 3 different people that we like and see who does the best job and then give them the rest. But also I think like even these days albums have different mixing engineers and different mastering engineers across all the different songs. Like it doesn't have to be one person the whole time anymore.
Yeah, there was a song on the Sauce segment once on my show that was mastered by 2 different people.
Yeah.
One for the YouTube video and one for Spotify and streaming. So you never know what's going to happen, right? Like
well, yeah,
it's
that's
all over
the
the
thing.
place these days.
Because you never, like, same as what I was saying before, like revisions and stuff too. It's just like people interpret music differently, you know. And because I'm a keys player and a vocalist and I love like ambient music, everyone's always like, turn them down, turn down the ambience and the keyboards, I want more guitar. I'm like, okay, of course, like, you know, it's going to turn out
I think
different.
only guitarists turn up guitars. I'm a bass player, so I'm all about like getting the low end, a lot of bass and kick, and then vocal, and I forget about the guitars.
My favorite thing is like, can you turn up basically like every instrument? It's like, well, if you turn up every instrument, it's like you can't do. I'll just send you the whole thing louder. Cool.
It happens.
It does happen. It's so funny.
It's like, oh yeah, turn up the drums. Great. Oh, now turn up the bass. Oh yeah, great. Oh, now turn up the guitars. I was like, okay, what did you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? It's all the same.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, you know, this has been a super awesome, interesting conversation and lots of inspiration here for me and for the listeners. I want to ask you about your journey, you know, kind of looking back on it. Was there something that you maybe did or didn't do that you'd tell your earlier self? Like, hey, Antonia, keep at that. That's going to get you where you need to go. Or maybe like, don't do that. That's holding you back. What would be that one piece of advice that you would tell your earlier self?
There has been like a couple of situations where I should have been paying attention and I didn't. So that's kind of like what I kick myself about. But yeah, it's just, I guess everything kind of happens for a reason, or you kind of